So, welcome. We are on season 1, episode 2 of our SoCal Insider.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. So,
Thanks for having me. Right?
yeah, we got Alex Bardales here from
Blue
Bloom
Mortgage.
Lending.
Blue Mortgage. Been a lender for over 20 years now.
Wow, awesome. Yeah. So, I know we work together a lot. You're
Right.
one of the.
We'll try to, right? Try to keep you happy.
Yeah.
Try to keep you and your clients happy. That's the goal.
Yeah, definitely. So, thanks for coming.
Well, no, thanks for having me. I guess I'll do my best to add some value to your conversation.
Yeah, excellent. So, we like to start our segment here and just talk about the market. So, from the lending side, what are you seeing in the market here?
Other than it's crazy, and that there's no inventory.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It seems like the banks are loosening up a little bit. If that helps.
Okay. What do you mean by loosening up?
Guidelines seem to be a little bit looser.
Okay.
Some of the other things we're seeing is you get products that are coming back on the market. I mean, I'd say over the past 5 years, we weren't seeing 100% financing. It's back.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
So if you're a buyer,
Yeah.
a client that's been sitting on the market because you don't have money, programs are back.
Okay, interesting.
Take advantage of that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
So hope that helps.
that definitely does. Yeah. What have you been seeing in the market, Jason?
Same thing. It's been wild. I was talking to an agent and trying to get an offer in, and I was like, "What does the activity look like?" He's like, "I got 46 offers in, so you better write high and you better write fast."
Yeah.
Sounds like a conversation you're in the past.
Yeah, we have a lot of those conversations. I think it's been crazy. But it seems like inventory's ticking back up a little bit. We're seeing like a little bit more kind of shaking up.
I had a conversation yesterday with an agent out in the high desert.
Mm-hmm.
She said last Friday there was 850 homes available in her market.
Mm-hmm.
What she pulled up yesterday was 700.
Oh, wow.
So that market, I guess, because of affordability, is showing less inventory now.
Got it. Okay.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a good sign, right?
Yeah.
People are buying, people are moving.
Yes, definitely. I've heard CPI and the Fed reports are coming out, and they may tick the rates down.
It may. We were expecting bad news for yesterday's
Mhm.
meeting. It was actually positive.
Okay.
So the banks usually like to hedge ahead of the game.
Right. So it's
before-
already like baked
Yeah,
in.
it's already baked in. So today in the morning we had 3 positive improvements of 3/8 in rates.
Okay. Great. Yeah.
So that's again for the consumer. That's ideal.
That is ideal. Yeah, I think it also. I saw a statistic this morning that said 89% of mortgage holders have a rate at 5% or below.
Right.
So we need to maybe see rates crawl back toward 5 for them for a lot of that. So
So
that group to start selling.
I'll tell you that when I talk to guys that have been in the industry as long as I have or longer, we all have this vision that by the end of the year, we'll be back in the low fives.
Okay.
In some products, obviously, right? And in others, you'll get back to the 5.5s, which makes affordability a lot easier for the clients.
Yeah, definitely. I think it also would help people who want to sell or move get that rate difference isn't so big.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that definitely
Exactly.
becomes a factor for them, right? Because now they like, hey, well, they don't want to walk away, though they have all this equity.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to walk away from a 3% and go buy at a 6%.
Yeah, or
Or
6.5. or
6.5,
something.
yeah, in some cases. But again, that's what we're all hoping for the best. And I love to see a 5 for the consumer again.
Yeah, I think we all would.
Yeah. I mean, it makes affordability a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially the guys that are making mid-level incomes.
Yeah.
That's the difference between qualifying at a 600,000 price range to
Mhm.
possibly 525.
Yeah. It was a big difference.
Huge
Yeah,
difference.
especially in
yeah.
like the LA market. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Are you seeing a lot of the 2-1 buy down?
so we've started seeing them.
Uh-huh.
And it seems like that's kind of just become a fad of the past.
Right.
Because as we get smarter or we become hip to it, we also educate our clients. And it's, listen, if you're going to spend the $9,000 to get that rate, right? Why don't we do it towards a similar rate on a 30-year fix?
Mhm.
Right.
It's simple math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think the big sell on the 2-1 buy down, at least what people were coaching was, hey, get the seller to pay
right.
for it. But where are you going to find a seller to give closing costs like that?
Now.
Well, especially now, going
Yeah,
back to what
now.
you just talked about,
Yeah.
right? You got offers that are being written up $50,000-$60,000 above listing price. That seller's not walking away from $10,000 towards a buyer.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
think it just shows how much the market has shifted from the beginning of the year to now.
Oh, yeah.
I know we're working with some clients, and a beginning strategy was,
Mhm.
okay, let's get some closing costs covered by the seller. Let's find a good deal. And now we're like, if you're not prepared to come in at least at asking, it's not even worth our time.
I think I shot a couple videos on it too, and now I hid them from my feed.
Sounds about right. But this is when we go back to that, what I mentioned earlier, these programs that are coming in to help with down payment or closing costs.
Mhm.
I have specifically a client today who's not using it towards down payment, but because of the field she's in, we're using it to pay for her closing costs.
Got it. Oh, cool.
So it's just a matter of strategizing,
yeah.
finding a way to help the client and getting her offers accepted, what gets you guys moving on to the next challenge.
Right, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And help more people. So
Yeah.
yeah. That's awesome. So
I think another big concern that I've had these past couple days submitting offers is the appraisal. Like when I'm doing my comps, I'm seeing these homes and I'm like, oh man, this is not gonna appraise. But now I'm just like, the market's so hot, I'm just gonna submit and we're gonna just go for it. What have you been seeing as far as like appraisals? Are they coming in?
So they are. It's interesting because I'll go back to what you said earlier. At the beginning of the year, we were having those challenges, man.
Mhm.
The first 2-3 months, you had a property that was going in escrow at 500, and that appraisal was coming in 480, 490. There was a sense of being conservative, even by the appraisal groups during that time.
yeah.
And it seems like the appraisers are looking at what's happening with the offers that are being written, and they said, "Hey, I guess that property still has the potential to come in at that." So I'd say in the last 60 days, everything that's been written up has come in.
Okay, yeah.
We actually had one
awesome.
yesterday that came in 10,000 above appraised value, above the contract value.
Yeah, wow.
So
Yeah.
that gives you a sense of where the market's headed again, I guess.
Yeah. I think what you said over the last 60 days, I've been a little bit less conservative with the comps and appraisals because what I've seen, they're coming in reflecting kind of where the market is going to. So yeah, so I found that interesting. Yeah. So I guess the second part, I just want to talk about something specific that we saw in an inspection or something that someone might not know. We had a conversation in my area up in La Crescenta, and there's just tons of oak trees there. So whenever you have a property with oak tree, they're protected, like aggressively protected.
Really?
So we're trying to add a junior ADU. I'm working on that project. They built it, and I'm trying to legalize it after the fact. One of those things. I've done a ton, so I'm not unfamiliar with it, but it does encroach on the drip lines of the shape of the tree. And so in order for us to even get this in front of the planning department, we have to clear it with forestry. So we have to get an arborist out there. They have to say the health of the tree, and then we are allowed to send it after forestry does a hearing. We are in queue for 14 months now. They're not moving. So it's just interesting thing. A lot of people don't think about. Whenever they come to my area, I always point out oak trees, especially if they're close to the tree, because even if it's, maybe in a more precarious situation, like position, you'd still have to go through a bunch of hoops to get it out. I was showing a house and was talking to the seller of the house, and he was telling me about his new property. He said a big oak tree back there in the heavy rains, it kind of toppled over onto the wash. And a couple days later, the forestry department came with members of the sheriff department, like with bulletproof vests on. He
That's
said, like on their firearm, it's over a tree. And he said, why would you not notify us? So, well, if a tree falls on my property, I'm going to have someone come clean it up. I'm not going to call the sheriff's
I'm
department
gonna make
to report it.
Firewood, right?
Yeah. And so I know some pines are also protected, but in Southern California, oak trees are a giant pain. If you see a giant oak tree in a huge lot and you want to build that ADU, think twice. Yeah. Or walk away.
Walk away.
Yeah, I think it took him 2 extra years to get his home completed because of the oak trees on his property. So
I always get concerned seeing trees, period. Like big trees. Like I've had experiences with those damn roots getting into the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, oh man. Or branches. Those branches are heavy. They can really knock in a roof.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like,
I always take a look.
That's the first thing that comes to mind when you talk about a big tree in the yard.
yeah.
Like when
It's
is
a
that going to
matter
happen?
of when, yeah.
It's a matter
Not
of
if,
when,
yeah.
yeah. What kind of damage will that cause to the home, right?
Right.
Roots and then the branches
Yeah.
So,
Well, now you get to think about some red tape if it's an oak tree.
Yeah.
got it. Stay away from any homes with oak tree. I won't buy that.
If you don't know what an oak tree looks like, pull it up on Google. At least have a good
Right.
idea about what that looks like.
Add it at the bottom of your link.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Did you explain the cost of putting that tree back in already?
Oh no! So the property owner I talked to, so the tree fell over.
Okay.
So the forestry department came and they said before, it's fine, you could just let it go. But now he was required to replant. They had to measure the diameter of the oak tree, and he has to replant oak trees on his property that add up to that similar diameter. So it's a new thing. I haven't verified it. That's just what he told me.
Right.
But it's just going to be another layer in that.
There's got to be a dollar tied to that. A dollar.
Yeah, there has to be. So
Right.
yeah, something I'm gonna look into, and I'll report back.
I guess any dollar would be bad just because it's not your problem. I mean, it shouldn't be your problem, right?
Right. Yeah, I would think so. But long story short, working with the forestry department to get any sort of construction done next to a protected oak tree is a major pain.
So that on top of your everyday struggles with the city getting permits, I'm sure it's just
Yeah, I mean that makes normal city permitting process like a piece of cake. Yeah. So yeah. Is there any sort of tips or tricks or something you've seen recently that you'd like to share?
Well, tricks. I'd say it's more of a tip.
Okay. Yeah.
Keep your money in the bank.
Okay.
Let's make your life and our lives a lot easier. Sourcing when it comes to doing anything in lending, sourcing your funds is very important. Getting an offer accepted for guys like yourselves, right? You can't do that without assets being available. So let's make sure that the money's in the bank at least 60 days prior to getting into escrow.
Does it matter? So we're talking about clients who run a lot of cash businesses, and they might be holding large amounts of cash and wherever they like to hold it. What's like an avenue that they can get that into the bank that is okay from the underwriting side?
Well, it's not. I don't think there is such a thing as there's a source other than maybe going forward, any checks that are being provided to you, don't cash them, deposit it back into your account because we can't do anything with what's already in cash,
Right.
right? So, or the other option is always maybe let's find someone that'll do a gift for you.
Okay.
That simplifies things. It saves you me time.
Yeah.
And you as a consumer, you don't have to worry about how do I get this in the bank tomorrow.
Sure. Okay. So in that process, if you had, let's say, your relative, you have them give you the gift, like your own cash back, how would that reflect on maybe? Does it would they owe taxes on that or what type of it?
No,
Okay.
there's no taxes on that. It's probably a better conversation for the CPA, but my understanding there isn't anything below 100,000 shouldn't be taxed as a gift.
As a gift. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So talk to the family members and see who's got the money in the bank and do what you do.
Yeah. Get ready to. Yeah.
Get ready. The other thing on that same note,
Mhm.
I'd say don't get the money directly from that. Wait till we instruct you. Money goes directly to escrow, makes it a lot easier for everybody.
Got it. Okay.
That's gonna be the easiest and cleanest way. If we're doing a conventional loan, guys, your donor doesn't have to give us a bank statement. All they gotta do is sign a gift letter, write their account number on there, right? At the closing, the only thing we're looking to see is that the funds came from that account.
That's it.
That's it.
That's good to know.
Simplifies things.
Yeah.
If we're going FHA, we're expecting to see a bank statement coming from that donor.
Got it. Okay. Other than that, it's just that one piece of paper.
That's it.
Basically.
Bank statement, gift letter, let's go.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that.
Makes
Yeah,
your life
that's good
easier.
to know. Okay.
Stay conventional makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. So they don't need to transfer it all
They
within.
don't. Yeah, it saves everybody. There's. I get it. As consumers, we get excited. We don't understand the rules, and I've had this conversation probably in the past 3 weeks, 5 times, where people tell me, "Well, my brother's giving me the money. He already transferred it to me." No, stop.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Let us guide you.
Got it. Okay.
Let us guide you because there's going to be. I think the easiest thing that we can do is make this as clean as possible for everybody. The simpler the experience for you as a consumer, the better it is, right? And so don't get ourselves. Let us guide you, and we'll get you home.
Got it. Okay. Oh, that's really good to know. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What about you, Jason? Anything you want to share?
Well, I got my last offer accepted by taking your advice and hounding the listing agent.
Oh, you call them
Yeah,
nonstop.
yeah. So just finding out. Well, see, the thing is we had 2 homes that we were really looking at, like that they loved, and so we put offers in on both. So I contacted both listing agents. The first one I talked to, they're like, hey, just increase your EMD and come in more at asking, and you'll stand out a little bit more from the other offers. I was like, okay. So that was good. And so then I went to the other home, the other listing agent. I was like, okay, and we're at max now with this other home. And I even have them use their like tax return to add in some money to make us look a little bit better. But they were already like 20K over what we could do. So I still asked them, like maybe look at us still as like a good backup, if anybody backs out. So then we went back to the other one, and they're like, just resubmit an RPA, and we'll probably look at opening up escrow. And so did it and got them in escrow. And now today I'm setting up inspection. So we'll be doing an inspection tomorrow.
Nice.
Got all disclosures out.
Nice.
So hopefully it's a probate.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's the
Does
only
it
thing.
require court confirmation?
It does require court confirmation. So the escrow is about 45 days.
So that's 45 to 60 days. Probably.
Yeah. But it's okay because my clients, they're not in a rush. They don't have to be out of their place at any time soon.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, it worked out really well. I'm happy.
Cool.
Happy for the family. It did take us, a minute to actually get them to even do the loan application. So I didn't know, if they were really serious about it. And the first home that they saw that they wanted to see was probably about a $480,000 home.
Mm-hmm.
And my conversation was like, oh, that's a probate sale too. They're already at 650.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you want to do? And it's cash. And she's like, no, I'm not interested. And I was like, well, what made you think that you could, get this home at 480 or 500? And she's like, I think that's what I can do. And so that's when I started talking to her about like, well, maybe you can afford more. Like, let's have you talk to a lender and see what your options can be. And yeah, I kind of I didn't pressure them. I really let them take their time with
Yeah, I know
this.
you've been working with them for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that worked out for me because typically I'm kind of hounding my clients and like, hey, get your taxes together, all the W-2s, your pay stubs. Let's see how much money we're gonna work with here.
Yeah.
But really took my time with it and had patience, and it worked out.
Nice.
Can I ask something to that note? Because I think I've seen a pattern in what you just described, clients wanting to go see homes without getting pre-approved. Is that something you guys are seeing a lot?
Yeah,
lately?
as Zillow agents, we see that a lot. So a lot of online Zillow leads, they're people who they're interested in buying a home. They're looking on Zillow. They see one that catches their eye, so they say, "Oh, I want to talk to that agent." And they have no really expectation about. One of the biggest hurdles I think working with like fresh clients we are able to help from Zillow is explaining, trying to do that handoff to the lender. Because we'll look at houses, we'll have this great conversation, and you hand them off to get pre-approved, and they just so reluctant to make that call.
I've noticed that, and I don't know if it's the consumer that's coming from that world, the online world, that has a fear, as opposed to more of a warm handout.
Yeah, so I think it's something we get a lot of training on, something we work on a lot. What I've been finding with the clients we've been working with is before I used to do the intro text and I would let you call them.
Right.
But now I've been initiating that first call. And I find that connection rate has been much higher since then.
It's a warm handout.
Yeah, so
right?
so I'll do the intro, I'll do the spiel. The first call comes from my number, so they know who it is, and then I hand it off, and I let you.
Yeah, I've noticed that works great.
Yeah,
That
so
works great.
it takes a little bit more time and legwork on my end, obviously, but if that's what ultimately can help them take that next step, that's what I've been doing from here on out.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So
I need to try that. The call, the three-way call. I do a three-way text, and it kind of the call or misses.
and everyone's can be very busy. You don't know their schedules, and
Well, I always call my lender first. I'm like, hey, this is the situation. I'm gonna call you or
Right,
text
right.
you. It's usually text.
yeah, but
Right.
whatever happens Tuesday at noon, and then by Wednesday at 4 p.m. a lot could
Oh.
happen.
Life
Yeah,
happens, man.
so
Life
that's
happens.
true.
So I
That-
always say I'm gonna call you, and I'm gonna dial us in. I'm gonna make the intro,
Okay.
and it's had almost
That's
a much
great.
higher rate.
I'd say the
advice.
last 10 we've gotten 9.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Nine.
And it doesn't have to be something that's really uncomfortable. That's what I realized.
Mhm.
It's just a simple 5-minute conversation, set the expectation of what's expected on their end from us,
Mm-hmm.
and we move on to the next conversation.
Mhm.
You know, it's just making them feel comfortable with who we are.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's that one extra phone call on our end, but I it's been going a long way.
Yeah.
So that's basically the only way I'm handing off to lender at this point. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So moving on to something more specific, just want to know what kind of lending products you're seeing. We saw the CalHFA for a while. That's gone.
That was exciting. I
Yeah.
mean, well, so let me go to that. CalHFA's still there.
Mhm.
There's plenty of programs still through CalHFA. They've got specialty products for first-time buyers, right? But more importantly, for nurses, first responders, let's call them, right? So if you're a first responder, let's talk about CalHFA. They can get you in a home with 0%. They'll forgive your closing costs. So that's one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you're a teacher, same to be said for them.
Mhm.
There's products out there for those specific folks. Teachers, GSFA and CalFHA are ideal for those type of professionals. It's 100% financing. The only thing we say is make sure you have enough in the bank for your escrow, when you
Okay.
open escrow.
Yeah.
But essentially, you could get everything else financed.
Wow. 100% finance.
100% financing. I mean, that's back. It's they've done it, and it goes back to what I said earlier: loosening up guidelines, right?
Right.
Loosening up guidelines to get the consumers back out on the market.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So that's what we've seen a lot lately. In my 20 years, I think, that probably was a thing in 2018 when the market slowed down again,
Mm-hmm.
and here we are.
Yeah. Back. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, money's there.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
plenty of money, and that's for first-time buyers. There's products for folks that already own a home or co-sign for somebody out there that would also allow you to use some of these free funds.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, interesting. I know there's been a lot of talk about increased cost for someone who's 20% with great credit trying to supplement. There's a lot of like unclear information about what that
Yeah.
actually is.
The Biden penalty or
Yeah.
something.
Right,
yeah.
and it's funny. Somebody asked me about that today, and they were like, "So how's it going to affect my loan?" It's not, man.
Yeah.
If you're an FHA buyer, right? So there's a misconception that buyers, because they have great credit, are automatically going to go to conventional. Not necessarily. They can go FHA, take advantage of the lower down payment, which all they did is reduce the mortgage insurance up front for FHA.
Oh,
The
so that's
monthly
basically
mortgage
what it
insurance,
is.
That's all they did.
For
That's all they
FHA
did.
buyers.
Yeah. And conventional, there's a couple little hidden fees that have always been there. The thing is that they've always been there.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They've always been there. It's become a thing of conversation in the past 60 days. Not sure why.
So it's nothing new.
Nothing
per
new.
se.
They've always been there
Okay. So basically, they just lowered the cost on the.
on FHA. That's the only thing they did. But again, hey, if you're a borrower that has good credit, right, and you don't want to use all your funds, FHA is there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Take advantage of what's been put out there for you.
Yeah. I saw a stat recently. FHA loans are having a huge uptick, right?
So I'd say the only time that I've seen conventional at its highest was 2020 through mid 2022. And the reason for that was because the majority of the buyers were folks that were selling their homes and had great equity, right?
Right.
They were equity rich. So that's Fannie and Freddie had an opportunity to say, hey, let's go make all this money, right? But traditionally, FHA has always been the king.
Right. Interesting.
It's
yeah.
because it allows that flexibility. As lenders, we can have a conversation with a client and say, hey, I can get you more bang for your dollar. Go on FHA. Why? Because guidelines are a little bit looser. If you've had credit challenges in the past, 9 months.
Yeah.
FHA is very forgiving.
Very forgiving.
Very forgiving.
Yeah. What's the minimum credit you need?
Jesus. So we have,
Five,
and don't
6
quote me
years
on
ago.
this. No, there's a lender out there that claims they can do 500. So FHA's
500,
guidelines,
yeah.
FHA's guidelines say that you can do a 500
Yeah.
credit score.
Wow.
It comes with a cost,
Yeah.
Right.
right? That's a 10% down. If you're going to get a lender that takes on that deal, they're going to want 10% down. They're going to want some reserves, and they're going to want few explanations. But if it's a matter of making sense. If I can tell that you're just not credit wise, right? You just don't have a lot of credit because you're not that kind of a person. You're a cash individual. It makes sense, right? Hey, I own 10 cars, but they're all paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I've got all this money sitting at home.
Yeah.
They don't believe in banks.
Yeah.
So those clients are easier to explain, but they're also okay with coming in with that 10%.
Right. Right.
And you explain to them, hey, in 6-7 months, this mortgage is going to change your credit life.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, in 6 months, the other buyer is a 600 point buyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is 500. Most banks won't go as low as 580.
Yeah. Okay.
More-
500
more-
seems.
580. Yeah. 580. Yeah. It's something to be said about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
500.
it makes sense for what you're saying. A
Yeah.
person who doesn't build a ton of credit just from
That's it.
how they
Out of
build it.
fear, lack of education.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's really what it is.
Yeah. Interesting.
You have anything else to add? No. I did try to do the first responders, the GSFA. Yeah,
GSFA?
that's a pretty attractive one, but the rate was a little bit too high for them. Like, is that coming in a little bit better now, or?
This morning, I can speak for today, 6.375.
Okay.
It all comes in waves, right? I mean, I've seen a 7.5. Yesterday, we had a conversation with somebody that was being quoted a 7.5, but it's 6.375. 2 weeks ago, it was 5.875.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty-
it all depends on the waves of the market.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What does a refi look like for someone who uses one of these programs?
Yeah.
There's no challenges. They don't-
Okay.
I
There's
mean,
no like prepaid penalties.
there's no prepayment penalties.
Yeah.
Oh, so if for a first responder, the third that's used for closing costs gets forgiven after 3 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That second has a slight rate that needs to be paid, but there's no prepaid,
Okay.
right?
Alright,
So what I've told people in the past is, look, if you're making extra money, it's just sitting there collecting interest.
Mm-hmm.
Send it to that payment. 2 years from now, that payment's gone, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about sharing that equity is essentially with GSFA.
Right. Right. Oh, interesting.
There's no prepayment to that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just kind of check every 6 months. If you've got the money, send it over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Smart.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
That's the
Wow.
easiest way to do, which is what we were advising people to do when that Cal FHA 20%
Okay.
equity share to do.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, you don't want to give them 20% 20 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
Do it now.
Do it in 3 years. Or
Do it in 3
5
years.
years.
Yeah, exactly. So that when that 20% equity down the line is free for you,
Mm-hmm.
you're not paying interest on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. It's the first time I've heard that. I mean, it totally makes sense.
It's all about talking to the right people, right?
Right.
Finding out what's out there, just doing your due diligence. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that little strategy actually came from Cal FHA themselves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I sat through one of their courses and they were saying, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, now that you say it, that's what everyone should be planning on.
That's
Yeah.
what
Right. As
exactly,
soon
yeah.
as they can afford that. Yeah. As long as the refinance makes sense. Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. Now, in Cal FHA was also forgiving or allowing you to refinance one time within the first 5 years, right? To allow you to get in a better situation
Yeah.
without penalizing you.
Right.
So that was another misconception that was out there. People were like, oh my God, if I refinance, I got to pay that money right away. What if I don't have it?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, maybe it'll be back. What do you think about that 20% program?
I don't know, man. This is the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
That they get that aggressive. Would it be good to see it every 2-3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Great. But I mean, again, there's plenty of products out there.
Yeah.
Well, you and I were talking about a specific product the other day. It's similar,
Mhm.
right? It's a grant.
Yeah.
But it's a grant. They're doing 10% only now, but they started off as 20%
Yeah, I know we pivoted one client from Cali to Fade to the grant.
to the grant.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So it's just a matter of doing your due diligence.
Yeah,
There's plenty of products out there. The problem is money runs out.
right.
Yeah.
So, well,
Perfect time to get into those products? It's usually about March.
Oh, interesting.
That's when they get funding.
Okay. So
So the cities, you know, if you're a buyer or client looking and you want to be in a specific city, go talk to your people at City Hall. See when they get funding.
Yeah. So March is about when it kicks in.
Yeah, March is when they kick in.
Not that we're telling people to wait till next March, but
Right. No. Yeah. Right. No, we're not.
but that's good to know.
Yeah,
If you are on a little bit longer home buying journey.
Right. I mean, look. I say that to say this. Just because you're going through challenges today doesn't mean that you're not a buyer, right? I like to have this conversation with my clients. Don't get discouraged. If your credit isn't where it needs to be today, well, let's make you a buyer in 90 days, in 6 months, a year, whatever that time is. But let's use our time smart,
Yes.
right?
I like
So let's say there's a client that came in today with a 500 credit score. Hey, we got about 9 months of building credit, right? But in the meanwhile, I want you to go sign up with your city, right? There's a long list of folks waiting for these funds. Why not be one of them?
Right. And be ready once.
And be
once
ready.
it- yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a really good point.
So that's why I bring that up.
Yeah,
That's the
no.
reason I bring
Yeah,
that
no.
up.
I mean, we work with a lot of people who have home buying aspirations.
Right.
They just don't know. They just need a little bit of coaching and education. And
I think a lot of the best education is probably from the lender because they can guide you like with your credit, like what you need to pay off, what's going to look attractive, what's
Yeah.
going to help your credit score the most,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then so like even if 9 months you don't have to rely on a program like that, like maybe it'll shoot you up like up to a 700 score, you know,
And now you
You're in a
qualify
better
for one of the
position.
other products, right?
and a better interest rate.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh man, I was gonna mention something about that. It'll come back to me. Cool, but I think that's it, right? You got anything else? You have anything else to add?
No, I think this is great.
Yeah, man, yeah.
I hope I brought some value to your
Oh, you
conversation.
definitely did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, always learn something new that I didn't know about from before. And yeah, so people might have some questions. How can they reach you? What's the best way?
Instagram probably in today as well.
Yeah.
Alex the Loan Guy.
Nice.
Perfect. Oh,
Yeah,
nice
that's
and
it.
easy.
Very nice and easy, man. I've managed to buy that on time. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Alex the Loan Guy on Instagram is the best way. If not, I'm sure you'll probably share my link and my phone number will be on there.
Yeah,
Yes, of
definitely,
course.
definitely. So, all right, want to thank you again so much for coming
Thank
out.
you.
And
Thank you both.
Yeah.
Thank you both for the time.
Yeah, and looking forward to doing this again soon.
Let's do it.
Yeah, definitely.
right,
Thanks.
guys.
All right, thanks.
See ya.
Thanks. See ya.